Hi guys, welcome back. Happy Monday. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded in quite a few days. I was getting back on track and I actually, I had made two videos in a row, like one each day, and neither of them saved. So by the time the third day came around, I was just kind of discouraged and I was just like I felt like what's the point of me making these videos if they're not even going to save? Like what the heck? I was just kind of annoyed. And I was tired, so I took a nap with my daughter instead. And then the following day, I just like I don't know, I started to get discouraged and just didn't even want to try at that point. Um, I haven't even prayed in a couple of days. I didn't go to church yesterday. I didn't go to church because my daughter had a runny nose and I was afraid if it wasn't allergies, I didn't want to get anyone sick. But I was like just using that as an excuse to not go. Um, I've been having a really hard time just like I think what happened was if you've been following all along, you'll know that my husband has been um, going to work in the middle of the night and then school during the morning. And then he finally finished school recently. And we thought, oh, that's great. He applied to all these jobs. He had a bunch of options. He even had two job offers. But the first one was like barely any money. And he would have had to get a second job. But he couldn't find a second job. Not even at a fast food. They were all like full-time jobs. He couldn't find a part-time one. So he passed it up. And they were like, oh, we'll call us if you change your mind. Well, he still hasn't been able to find a part-time job. And then he got a second job offer, but it was in the middle of the night. And it wasn't that much money either than what he's making now. So, and it was far. So we agreed, it's better for him to wait for a day job. And then now he's just waiting on a bunch of places and he's not getting calls back. And it's just so discouraging because it's like we've been in survival mode for almost the past year while he's been in school. And we're like, okay, you're going to get done with school. You're going to get a job. It's going to be great. Well, he's done with school. And, every day that passes, every week that passes, it's like that nothing's happening. It just feels so, so discouraging. And I've prayed about this to God many times and I'm just like, God, what is going on? Like, and I have faith that he has something, you know, for him, for us. But I'm just like, well, why haven't you given it to us yet? Why haven't you shown him the job yet? What's the hold up? Like, why are we, like, it just feels like we're going through this, like, storm right now that's, like, never gonna end. And it's just so discouraging. And it's not even just the past year, it's like our whole lives, especially mine so far, has been like, I've been in, like, survival mode. And so to feel like we were on the precipice, on the cusp of finally starting our lives. My husband he's gonna get a day job, he'll be home at nights, we can start saving for a house, we can spend time together as a family. And it just feels like it's like right there, but it feels like it felt like we were right there at the end of the tunnel. And now it feels like we're almost like going backwards in the tunnel instead of forward. And I keep praying about it and I keep like I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm losing like hope a little bit and I'm getting discouraged. And like some days I have faith and I'm positive and I'm like, okay, everything's gonna be okay. We're in God's hands, everything's gonna be okay. Especially when when we got that check the other day, last week. That really sparked a lot of hope in me. Like, oh, okay, like we're in God's hands, we're okay, everything's fine. But then for some reason, it's like, that spark I had, I kept it for about 2 days because I made the videos and they didn't save. And I was like, okay, fine. But then after the second time, I was like, oh, okay. But then the third day came. And then I just kind of started to lose that momentum I had gotten again from the check. Um, And I'm just really, it feels like a roller coaster right now. And I just don't know what to do sometimes. And God's told me, hey, I want you to focus on these specific things right now. But it just like, it like doesn't even compute on me right now because I'm so like, my flesh is just going crazy right now. And of course, the enemy's taking advantage of it. And it just feels like I have this like chaos storm inside of me and my life. So then to focus on things that God wants me to focus on just seems so like, blah, how? You know, I'm exhausted. I feel like I just want to sleep all the time. It's partly I'm exhausted and partly I'm like a little depressed, if I'm being honest, just a smidge. Um, and part of me is like just wants to sleep away, eat every day, all day until something better happens. And then I'll be like, okay, you know? So, I don't know. Sorry, I know this is not a pep talk in any way, shape, or form, but I promised that I would share the good and the bad of my journey of getting to know God and reading the Bible for the first time. And that's what I'm doing. And some days are not good, and some days are hard. And some days I'm a little, if I'm being honest, frustrated with God because I'm like, what's going on? But then at the same time, it's like he just keeps telling me to work on the things that he's asked me to work on, which just is so frustrating because I'm like, this is the things he wants me to work on. Number one is my diet. I am not eating the best foods. I need to cut down on the inflammation, stay away from the foods that hurt me, like dairy, and cut down on sugar, processed sugar, things like that. 2, exercise. He wants me to work on exercising. And he's told me these things are going to help you in the end. Like, I know right now it doesn't feel like focusing on those things is going to do anything, but it will. And it's like, it makes sense, but emotionally and in my flesh right now, it doesn't make sense to me. And it's just like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, just give us money and a job where we can make some money and everything will be fine. But God's like, no, like, I want you to work on these things. I'm just like, what? So then the other things are, I started a different YouTube channel where I make food videos because I'm really passionate about food. And I want to find a way to make income regarding food. So I just decided to start making food videos just to, dabble and kind of experiment and see where it takes me. So he said that's number 3, or no, that's number 4, sorry. Number 3 is focusing on reading the Bible in the mornings, starting my day with prayer and reading the Bible. And then, still working on my videos where I make them while my daughter naps. Then number 4 is the food videos, just, kind of like a side project. And then number 5 is to learn Spanish, which makes sense because I married a Mexican and a lot of his family speaks Spanish. I go to a Spanish speaking church. That also, he wants me to work on that as well. So those are the 5 things he wants me to work on, which logically makes sense. I get it. But at the same time, currently right now, it's like every day, it's like it seems like our problems are tied to money. And it's like, okay, well, what are we doing? Like, my husband finished school. He did it. Now, you keep telling me that you have a job in store. So when is it going to come? Like, what's the holdup? What are we waiting for? It's like, and I'm so stuck in that I can't even see like anything else around me or the blessings in my life or just relax and then just enjoy the day. I'm so stuck on that it's like it's clouding me, I don't know. It's frustrating. Anyways, let's get into today's chapters before I just keep losing my mind, because that's how I feel today.
Woe to you who plunder, though you have not been plundered. and you who deal treacherously, though they have not dealt treacherously with you. When you cease plundering, you will be plundered. When you make an end of dealing treacherously, they will deal treacherously with you. O Lord, be gracious to us. We have waited for you. Be their arm every morning, our salvation also in the time of trouble. At the noise of the tumult, the people shall flee. When you lift yourself up, the nations shall be scattered, and your plunder shall be gathered, like the gathering of the caterpillar. As the running to and fro of locusts, he shall run upon them. The Lord is exalted, for he dwells on high. He has filled Zion with justice and righteousness. Wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of your times, and the strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Surely their valiant ones shall cry outside. The ambassadors of peace shall weep bitterly. The highways lie waste, the traveling man ceases. He has broken the covenant. He has despised the cities. He regards no man. The earth mourns and languishes. Lebanon is shamed and shriveled. Sharon is like a wilderness, and Bashan and Carmel shake off their fruits. Now I will rise, says the Lord. Now I will be exalted. Now I will lift myself up. You shall conceive chaff. You shall bring forth stubble. Your breath, as fire, shall devour you. And the people shall be like the burnings of lime. Like thorns cut up, they shall be burned in the fire. Hear, you who are afar off, what I have done. And you who are near, acknowledge my might. The sinners in Zion are afraid. Fearfulness has seized the hypocrites. Who among us shall dwell with the devouring fire? Who among us shall dwell with everlasting burnings? He who walks righteously and speaks uprightly. He who despises the gain of oppressions. Who gestures with his hands, refusing bribes. Who stops his ears from hearing of bloodshed, and shuts his eyes from seeing evil. He will dwell on high. His place of defense will be the fortress of rocks. Bread will be given him. His water will be sure. Your eyes will see the king in his beauty. They will see the land that is very far off. Your heart will meditate on terror. Where is the scribe? Where is he who weighs? Where is he who counts the towers? You will not see a fierce people, a people of obscure speech, beyond perception, of a stammering tongue that you cannot understand. Look upon Zion, the city of our appointed feasts. Your eyes will see Jerusalem, a quiet home, a tabernacle that will not be taken down. Not one of its stakes will ever be removed, nor will any of its cords be broken. But there, the majestic Lord will be for us, a place of broad rivers and streams, in which no galley with oars will sail, nor majestic ships pass by. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. He will save us. Your tackle is loosed. They could not strengthen their mast. They could not spread the sail. Then the prey of great plunder is divided. The lame take the prey, and the inhabitant will not say, I am sick. The people who dwell in it will be forgiven their iniquity. Come near, you nations, to hear, and heed, you people. Let the earth hear, and all that is in it, the world and all things that come forth from it. For the indignation of the Lord is against all nations, and his fury against all their armies. He has utterly destroyed them. He has given them over to the slaughter. Also, their slain shall be thrown out. Their stench shall rise from their corpses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. All the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled up like a scroll. All their hosts shall fall down, as the leaf falls from the vine, and as fruit falling from a fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Indeed, it shall come down on Edom, and on the people of my curse for judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made overflowing with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. The wild oxen shall come down with them, and the young bulls with the mighty bulls. Their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust saturated with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, the year of recompense for the cause of Zion. Its streams shall be turned into pitch, and its dust into brimstone. Its land shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night or day. Its smoke shall ascend forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste. No one shall pass through it forever and ever. But the pelican and the porcupine shall possess it. Also the owl and the raven shall dwell in it. And he shall stretch out over it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. They shall call its nobles to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all its princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in its palaces, nettles and brambles in its fortresses. It shall be a habitation of jackals, a courtyard for ostriches. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the jackals, and the wild goat shall bleat to its companion. Also, the night creature shall rest there, and find for herself a place of rest. There the arrow snake shall make her nest and lay eggs, and hatch, and gather them under her shadow. There also shall the hawks be gathered, every one with her mate. Search from the book of the Lord and read. Not one of these shall fail, not one shall lack her mate. For my mouth has commanded it, and his spirit has gathered them. He has cast the lot for them, and his hand has divided it among them with a measuring line. They shall possess it forever. From generation to generation they shall dwell in it. The wilderness and the wasteland shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice, even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given to it, the excellence of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord, the excellency of our God. Strengthen the weak hands, and make firm the feeble knees. Say to those who are fearful-hearted, be strong, do not fear. Behold, your God will come with vengeance. With the recompense of God, he will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then the lame shall leap like a deer, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For waters shall burst forth in the wilderness, and streams in the desert. The parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In the habitation of jackals, where each lay, there shall be grass with reeds and rushes. A highway shall be there, and a road, and it shall be called the highway of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for others. Whoever walks the road, although a fool, shall not go astray. No lion shall be there, nor shall any ravenous beast go up on it. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there, and the ransomed of the Lord shall return, and come to Zion with singing, with everlasting joy on their heads. They shall obtain joy and gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away. Now it came to pass, in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, that Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah, and took them. Then the king of Assyria sent the Rabshakeh with a great army from Lachish to King Hezekiah at Jerusalem. And he stood by the aqueduct from the upper pool, on the highway to the fuller's field. And Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, Shebna the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph, the recorder, came out to him. Then the Rabshakeh said to them, Say now to Hezekiah, Thus says the great king, the king of Assyria, What confidence is this in which you trust? I say you speak of having plans and power for war, but they are mere words. Now in whom do you trust, that you rebel against me? Look, You are trusting in the staff of this broken reed, Egypt, on which if a man leans, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all who trust in him. But if you say to me, we trust in the Lord our God, is it not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and said to Judah and Jerusalem, you shall worship before this altar? Now therefore, I urge you, give a pledge to my master, the king of Assyria, and I will give you 2,000 horses, if you are able on your part to put riders on them. How then will you repel one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust in Egypt for chariots and horsemen? Have I now come up without the Lord against this land to destroy it? The Lord said to me, go up against this land and destroy it. Then Eliakim, Shebna, and Joah said to the Rabshakeh, please speak to your servants in Aramaic, for we understand it, and do not speak to us in Hebrew in the hearing of the people who are on the wall. But the Rabshakeh said, has my master sent me to your master and to you to speak these words, and not to the men who sit on the wall, who will eat and drink their own waste with you? Then the Rabshakeh stood and called out with a loud voice in Hebrew, and said, hear the words of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus says the king, do not let Hezekiah deceive you, for he will not be able to deliver you. Nor let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord, saying, the Lord will surely deliver us. This city will not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Do not listen to Hezekiah, for thus says the king of Assyria, make peace with me by a present, and come out to me, and every one of you eat from his own vine, and every one from his own fig tree, and every one of you drink the waters of his own cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of grain and new wine, a land of bread and vineyards. Beware, lest Hezekiah persuade you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. Has any one of the gods of the nations delivered its land from the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharvaim? Indeed, have they delivered Samaria from my hand? Who among all the gods of these lands have delivered their countries from my hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem from my hand? But they held their peace, and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was, do not answer him. Then Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, who was over the household, Shebna the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph, the recorder, came to Hezekiah with their clothes torn, and told him the words of the Rabshakeh. And so it was, when King Hezekiah heard it, that he tore his clothes, covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of the Lord. Then he sent Eliakim, who was over the household, Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the priests, covered with sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amoz. And they said to him, thus says Hezekiah, this day is a day of trouble and rebuke and blasphemy, for the children have come to birth, but there is no strength to bring them forth. It may be that the Lord your God will hear the words of the Rabshakeh, whom his master, the king of Assyria, has sent to reproach the living God, and will rebuke the words which the Lord your God has heard. Therefore, lift up your prayer for the remnant that is left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said to them, thus you shall say to your master, thus says the Lord, do not be afraid of the words which you have heard, with which the servants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Surely I will send a spirit upon him, and he shall hear a rumor and return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. Then the Rabshakeh returned, and found the king of Assyria warring against Libnah, for he heard that he had departed from Lachish. And the king heard concerning Tirhakah, king of Ethiopia, he has come out to make war with you. So when he heard it, he sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, Thus you shall speak to Hezekiah, king of Judah, saying, Do not let your God, in whom you trust, deceive you, saying, Jerusalem shall not be given into the hand of the king of Assyria. Look, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all lands by utterly destroying them. And shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered those whom my fathers have destroyed? Gozan and Haran and Reziph and the people of Eden who were in Tel-Azar? Where is the king of Hamath, the king of Arpad, and the king of the city of Sepharvaim, Hena and Iva? And Hezekiah received the letter from the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of the Lord and spread it before the Lord. Then Hezekiah prayed to the Lord, saying, O Lord of hosts, God of Israel, the one who dwells between the cherubim, you are God, you alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Incline your ear, O Lord, and hear. Open your eyes, O Lord, and see, and hear all the words of Sennacherib, which he has sent to reproach the living God. Truly, Lord, the kings of Assyria have laid waste all the nations and their lands, and have cast their gods into the fire, for they were not gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they destroyed them. Now therefore, O Lord our God, save us from his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are the Lord, you alone. Then Isaiah, the son of Amoz, sent to Hezekiah, saying, Thus says the Lord God of Israel, because you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, this is the word which the Lord has spoken concerning him. The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised you, laughed you to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head behind your back. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed? Against whom have you raised your voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Against the Holy One of Israel. By your servants you have reproached the Lord, and said, By the multitude of my chariots I have come up to the height of the mountains, to the limits of Lebanon. I will cut down its tall cedars and its choice cypress trees. I will enter its farthest height, to its fruitful forest. I have dug and drunk water, and with the soles of my feet I have dried up all the brooks of defense. Did you not hear long ago how I made it, from ancient times that I formed it? Now I have brought it to pass, that you should be for crushing fortified cities into heaps of ruins. Therefore their inhabitants had little power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, and the green herb, as the grass on the housetops, and grain blighted before it is grown. But I know your dwelling place, your going out and your coming in, and your rage against me, because your rage against me and your tumult have come up to my ears. Therefore I will put my hook in your nose, and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way which you came.
Well, there we have it. I've read those chapters multiple times. Because, I did the recording and then the 2 days where it didn't save, and I'm ready to move on. But I'm still finding the book of Isaiah, a little difficult, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep moving forward. So hopefully this video will save right now, and then we can move on, or I can move on. So I will see you guys tomorrow for some more chapters. Have a great night.